there wasn't supportive people like NYSA and the supportive living program, I could have took a completely different path.
Just a little girl, how could you take her away from her world? Restore sunshine, she seems that's mine, she can't find the happiness, now she's blind.
NYSA to young people is a place of refuge. Its focus is on the well-being of young people in all the dimensions of their life. And so that means on an emotional level they feel supported, on a psychological level they feel that they're in a place that's positive and is uplifting and motivating. And often young people are struggling with just meeting some basic needs, physical needs, the things that many of us take for granted. And that's, where's my next meal coming from, and where am I going to lay my head tonight?
Like there's such a strong group of people here that want to be here, that are not here for any other reason other than they believe in what they're doing.
Well, I see it as a communal effort to be there for young people, especially those young people who don't have the social support networks that many other people are very fortunate to have.
And our services sort of been there along the path with you as needed? Yeah,
definitely. Helped me out a lot with Blade Runners when I was in a foster home. I needed to be out of the door all day, so that was a nice place to be, working, making money. And definitely made me feel a lot better about myself.
I've experienced some things lately that I didn't know how to handle, and I came here and they helped me through some hard times. So I don't know anywhere else where I could come with the problems I had and get help like that.
It's refuge from the storm. And truly, in a January night when it is pouring raining and it is really cold and you don't know where you're going to sleep and you don't know where you're going to get a hot meal, you can come in out of the cold and we'll give you a hot meal and you'll have a place to rest for a few hours, and we'll try and help you find shelter overnight. And then we're going to try and help you find a way to make your way in the world.
Youth can enter our programs at any number of entry points. So the one stop would be, I think, where youth just are seeking a safe place to be in the evenings. We have activities there, so they're introduced to activities. We have a wonderful music program called Plugged In. We have an arts program, but that's very casual, so whenever they want to come, they're able to do that. And normally the staff work with them and find out what their needs are and are able to kind of guide them gently into, maybe they want to go back to high school, or they might go to ABE at the university and take adult basic education. Those who want to get into the trades, we stream them into our Blade Runners program.
And then what made you decide to come here and check it out?
Oh, it's free. The fact that it's free, and they only deal with youth. And they're quite helpful here. People here are pretty nice and they're always encouraging.
The whole project has started out as a receiving home, not a group home or anything like that, which was for young children, very young children, who had to be taken out of their homes because of family problems and whatever else that went on, and even in some cases by police calls during the night. This kind of thing. That was sort of the first thrust I ever had out of it. Somehow or other I was approached, would I be interested to, with being a chartered accountant, sort of be there to help out in that end of it, and that's how I got on the board, along with a number of other people. I remember Jean McDonough and Sylvia Fredrickson especially. I don't know why I remember them, but they seemed to be very knowledgeable and very caring people, and I guess that's what impressed me. And then, of course, I met John and Joan Rogers, and I and those two, and I don't know, one or two other fellows went over to Richmond to see a similar idea in operation there. I learned a lot from that. What they face day in and day out. And somewhere along the line, the Mercer House on Wesley Street was available, and there was a retired teacher, Miss Mercer, who inherited the house, and she really didn't want to part with it, but she was at an age where she was going to have to, and when she heard what it was going to be used for, well, she was in seventh heaven.
Now, Nanaimo Youth Services in our community is a pivotal point for youth. And so I think that they provide, employment services, they provide housing services, they provide support. And I think that where youth services at one point was focused on troubled teens or troubled youth because they were coming from the Ministry of Family or they were mandated somehow, it's really grown to serve all youth in our community. So, and the spectrum, where it was young people before, is now up to 30. So I think any given day, if you're in youth services, you'll just see a variety of young people who are looking for employment, or they're looking for support, or they're looking to know what other resources are in the community. It is the place for youth to go in our community. And I think I've seen it really develop from being in a small house at the north end of town to now being in the core of the city and having, 20 different programs. And I'm not sure how many staff they have, but lots of staff now.
I first got involved in my past life when I was the member of the Legislative Assembly for Nanaimo from 2001 to 2005, and Executive Director Steve Arnett came to see me one day with a problem, and we were able to work on that together, and Steve appreciated my help, and I was kind of taken with the job that the agency does. And Steve, I think, as you know through other interviews you've done, has a tremendous reputation around the province for what he does. He's a professional social worker. He's extremely well liked by the staff.
I came to Nanaimo here in 1993 and to article. I'm a lawyer. I got called here in 94 and started working pretty quickly in criminal defense work, and in particular I ended up doing a contract to defend foster kids who were in foster care and care of the ministry. And it was through that work that I became aware of what Nanaimo Youth Service Association was doing for young people, which was a ton of good stuff. So essentially I had a lot of young clients who were being helped by this organization.
I've had them come and tell me their stories, and I've been pretty impressed, especially some of the First Nations and the young women, and how things have changed for them, and they've actually managed to get jobs and get off welfare and move on with their lives. And I think that's really positive.
Oh, I like it here. I like coming here. It's a good environment. They've helped me out a lot, I can say that. Like, I've gotten a couple jobs. They haven't always worked out, but people here are always motivating you to find more work, even when it's a depressing time when there's not much work around. So yeah, it'll get better.
Most often you hope, and they are doing well. Sometimes they're not doing as well, but they have made a connection to Nanaimo Youth Services and you as an individual person that they feel cared for. You are a reference for them in terms of how one could live as opposed to how one should live and how one might want to live with joy, as opposed to necessarily, being a social worker or being exactly like Steve or Sue or Kim or whatever. It's more just a way of an approach to the world.
No, careers and rainbows and stuff. That's my next one.
Yeah, that would work too. I'm now coordinating the supported living program, which is working with 16 to 19-year-olds who are permanent wards of the Ministry of Children and Family Development. So helping youth move out of foster homes or various places with their family to move into independent living.
If NYSA wasn't here, or hadn't been here when I was moving out, I don't think I would know where I would be with some of the stuff that I've been through or has happened. If there wasn't supportive people like NYSA and the supportive living program, I could have took a completely different path. They helped me with so many things. Like if I got evicted, instead of just going to a friend or couch surfing, they helped me rebuild, get a new place, and start over. They helped me get into treatment, which no one else could, but they did it in a supportive way that they waited till I needed to, and they did.